days around.
Hello and welcome to the Tottenham America channel. Today we will be reacting to Tottenham's 2-1 victory over Brighton as goals from Son and Kane gave Tottenham the 3 points on a very crazy afternoon in North London. We'll start with the events from the match.
In the 10th minute, Heung-min Son scored his trademarked goal to get his 100th Premier League goal. Perisic found himself on the left flank, who then laid it off to Son, and Son curled it into the top right corner. What a beautiful goal from him. And he's finally started to click in the Premier League, and as the season goes on, he just keeps getting better and better. Next, in the 18th, from the 18th to about the 26th minute, leading up to Brighton's goal in the 34th minute, Brighton kept building pressure on Spurs' goal. Lloris had to make some great saves from a McAllister low strike and a Caicedo shot, which Lloris pushed against the post. That was the closest Brighton came to a goal, other than the dunk goal, and of course other than all their disallowed goals. But it was really scary, really nervy. Lloris had to make some great saves, and he did. Then all that momentum led up to Brighton equalizing in the 34th minute when the corner came in. Dunk was free. The 6'6" defender, one of the tallest defenders in the Premier League, was left unmarked by our defense. And Lloris had somewhat poor positioning, and Dunk had an easy header who put it away into the net. And that's how the first half ended, 1-1.
Second half starts the same way the first half ends. Brighton continue putting pressure on the Spurs goal. In the 55th minute, Brighton think they have taken the lead as March plays the ball into Welbeck, who's in the penalty box and takes a strike, and it finds the back of the net. It goes to VAR, who sees it took a deflection off of Alexis McAllister, and really, I think it should have stood. It touched his arm, but the arm was against the body. But the VAR thought that this was a handball from McAllister, and it was disallowed. It did change the path of the ball, so it did wrong foot the goalkeeper. But really, in all honesty, I think this should have been a goal that stood. I don't think there was anything wrong with it, and Brighton really got stolen of a leading goal here. 2 minutes later, we saw 2 red cards handed out to both managers. Roberto De Zerbi and Christian Stellini were sent off the pitch after much pushing and shoving in the dugout, with scenes off the pitch looking unpleasant. The referee showed red cards to Stellini and De Zerbi after about 3 minutes of talking with the 4th official, and the reason came out about 10 minutes later was that they were unable to control their respective technical areas. I think De Zerbi's red card was fine, it was deserved, but on initial glance, I think Stellini should not have gotten that red card because, of course, he was kind of distancing himself from the fighting and kicking and screaming on the edge of the pitch, but ultimately it did come down to the control of each other's technical boxes, and in the end, both managers were taken off the pitch. For Tottenham, that meant that Ryan Mason would temporarily step into the main manager position. Then in the 71st minute, this was another chance for Brighton to go ahead, and really, this was a terrible VAR decision, as Mitoma gets the ball in the air, taking it away from Højbjerg, and Højbjerg actually plants his foot onto Mitoma's left foot. Mitoma goes to ground, and somehow, even with VAR looking at it, they don't give the penalty. They find that it's not a penalty, it was accidental or something, or there wasn't enough contact, and it's just waved away way too quickly. This was just another... This should have been a penalty.
It should have been a penalty. It's like VAR was biased to Spurs. Honestly, we got so lucky. It probably wouldn't have been 4-2 if the goals... Well, actually, Mitoma's goal at the beginning, I think we forgot to mention it, but there was a Mitoma disallowed goal earlier in the match after we took the lead. That goal should not have stood. Well, they got the decision correct since it was a handball from
like
Mitoma.
3-2, 3-1.
3-2, yeah. We really were so lucky to get the win today.
Yeah. Then in the 78th minute, we saw something that we haven't seen in almost probably a season now. Arnaud Danjuma, who has been largely forgotten about by Conte and Stellini, was brought onto the pitch for Kulusevski by Ryan Mason. And 1 minute later, Harry Kane scored the go-ahead goal after a pass across the box from Højbjerg. He takes one touch and fires it into the back of the net with his right foot, taking a deflection off of Veltman, I believe it was. And really, if you look at the goal, it was a pretty much a direct result off of Danjuma's entrance onto the pitch. He was able to press a little bit more than Kulusevski, who was undoubtedly very, very tired. I mean, he had just run the whole game, and he was probably our brightest player in the first half, so undoubtedly Kulusevski would be tired. Danjuma came on at the right moment, pressured down Brighton, and eventually that meant that we scored 1 minute later. Then we saw something else that we haven't seen in a while, and that was multiple subs in a game, where Pape Sarr came on for Skip, and Tanganga came on for Perisic. But the game ended somehow in Tottenham's favor by 2-1, a victory for the North London side. This pushes us up to no change, actually, in our position. We go from 50 points to 53 points, so we're still 3 behind Manchester United, but at least we don't fall further behind. But this was a much needed victory, and I don't know how we clawed away with it. We had 35% possession. We had half the shots that Brighton had, and yet somehow still there was just I don't know how they didn't win.
Our XG was 0.82.
I mean, let's be honest. It really should have been Brighton having 2 penalties probably. They had 1 goal disallowed that was unfair. In all honesty, that should have been Brighton's game. Terrible refereeing, but you're not going to hear me complaining because we needed the win big time.
Yeah.
But this is a very important win.
If we didn't get this win, we had Aston Villa. Brighton would have been within 1 point of us. But they would have been on 49. We would have been on 50.
Let's be honest.
Aston Villa are also on our tail.
This was not a good game. This was a really bad game for us. Lloris was his distribution was awful today. Romero was okay. Longley okay. Dyer was horrific. Pedro Porro was actually kind of decent. Perisic was not bad on that left side. Every time he got the ball, his crosses were a lot better today. Skip was okay. Højbjerg was surprisingly poor today. I thought he lost it really in the last. At least today, he's just has not done well.
Yeah, his only good moment was the assist for Kane.
Yeah,
which he really did pop up in the big moments, but he was losing the battle in midfield.
Yeah,
and he also committed a lot of fouls, unnecessary fouls.
Way too many unnecessary fouls. Way too many. He was not able to retain possession enough, and that led to. Especially one key one was the Caicedo strike onto the post that Lloris was able to tip onto the post. That was direct result of Højbjerg losing possession for no reason because he kept onto the ball too long. Then he doesn't really make an effort to come back and track back and block it. And so Caicedo really has an open field to just strike it. And he could have been a goal if it wasn't for Lloris's good goal-keeping skills, diving. Kulusevski was our most creative.
Our front three was really I was really impressed with how our front three linked today.
They were better than normal.
Yeah,
Kulusevski was...
Kane and Son. Kane probably was very quiet until he scored the goal.
Yeah.
He did pop up in the big moment, but Kane was really quiet in the first half and beginning of the second half. Son would have strike from him for his goal.
But after that, we really didn't see him.
Yeah. He was doing a lot of defending after that. Again, we saw him.
The whole team was doing defending.
We saw Son being pushed into midfield because of Perisic.
I don't think we saw that as much today.
There
was a direct effort to get.
That's one reason why Son scored the goal. In the first half, he was not. But after we had to be more defensive, Perisic, right when we win the ball back and when we're building out from the back, Perisic tends to go up the left hand side, which forces Son into midfield. In the first half, that wasn't happening, though, so that's why Son got that goal, and that's why he found himself in that position.
I feel like the whole game, really, it was not that case. I thought today, Perisic did a much better job of kind of staying back as a wing-back, so to let Son be up there, and that's why he was on the end of so many long balls today. If you saw, I think Dyer, Romero, Højbjerg hoisted up so many long balls, and Son was always there. Of course, Caicedo was there, or Colwill, or Stupinan, so they were able to kind of deal with the defensive threat, but... I like where Son played today.
Son was playing more of a striker today. That's what I'm trying to say.
Kane was
He's not playing on the left. He's playing on the right at times.
Yeah.
After Danjuma came on, he was playing on the right.
Our front three was very interchangeable today. They were interchanging a lot, which is kind of nice to see.
Well, they did well.
Yeah, but it's nice to see an interchanging front three because it gives you the different skills of the different players around the pitch. But that's it for our instant reactions to Tottenham's 2-1 win over Brighton. If you enjoyed and want to see more Spurs content, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below what your thoughts thoughts are on this game. And until next time.
Come on, you Spurs!